VHS Movie Talk for you, the movie fan. I'm Dom Chiodo, and I'm so happy that you decided to make it a part of your day or your afternoon, your evening, whichever, wherever you are. I'm so excited to be bringing you some movie talk. So this is the first movie talk or my movie talk of the year. And as you can tell by the title, we're going to talk a little bit about Michael Jackson in this video. It sounds like my mic quality is like really loud. I don't know why. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. If you're watching, please comment below. Let me know if my audio sounds too high or too little. And I already see we got Russell and Andy in the chat. So what's going on, guys? We got a lot of good topics to talk about today. And I'm probably going to get some shit for this, which is completely fine because everybody else likes to talk shit on me. First topic that we're going to talk about is something that it's going to piss all of you guys off that I'm going to talk about, right? And that's this little thing right here called The Last of Us. Whoa. All right, let me go ahead and fix that. We look like we got a new program that I'm working with. Perfectly fine. Hey, thank you. So right here, we're looking at The Last of Us. HBO Max's The Last of Us. Originally a video game property, right? I wasn't a big fan of the video game. I thought the video game was all right. I thought the story was, it was very basic. But HBO Max has a quality show on their hands, and as someone that is not a big fan of the property, I definitely have to agree that HBO does have a hit. So far in the first episode, it is a 1-for-1 shot of the video game. Now they have some changes in there, right? Here we go with the shitty takes. All right, thanks. So a couple things that took me out of the show. One, Joel, who is played by Pedro Pascal, his daughter is kind of race swapped, and not that that's a big deal, but it kind of takes you out a little bit. They're now Joel is being portrayed as a Latino, obviously because Pedro Pascal is Latino, but the characters, it kind of takes you out a little bit, right, from the looks and how they interact. The comments that are in there. So a couple other things that take you out, Joel's a drug dealer or shows that he's smuggling some drugs to prison guards. It's all right. I mean, it's great. It's a lot of the lines and a lot of the things are 1-for-1 shots with the video game. But so with this being successful, which brings up a question that I want to ask you guys, right? Now that we're able to be seen that we can take a video game property and take the complete same story, word for word, line for line that they use in that video game and turn it into a form of a television show or a movie itself, could it work? And could we stand behind it and say, yes, this is something that is doable? I mean, we look at other properties like Uncharted or Tomb Raider, the recent one for I think it was like 2016 that came out, or 17, somewhere in that area, or the Halo show. That was garbage. They screwed it up, but they said, "Hey, we have Master Chief in the show, so there we go. We have this show." Now, I unfortunately haven't watched the Halo series, but my question for you guys, and please comment below and let me know. He's mildly Asian. Thanks, Andy. I didn't know that. But comment below and let me know. Oh, yes. Thank you. Resident Evil. With the recently, it brings me on to the great, I wouldn't say great, but the next thing. Resident Evil. They came out with a Resident Evil. We had Russell ask, what is garbage? I have to go back and look and see. But what is garbage? So Resident Evil that came out. Oh, I was saying Uncharted was terrible, was garbage. The one with Tom Holland. But Yeah, your question is with Resident Evil. We had last year, I believe it was, Resident Evil that came out. They took Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 and they combined them into one movie and it just did not work. It didn't work at all. Also, the original Resident Evil movies from the early 2000s, they didn't work at all. Um, but it seems like we're at a point now that we can no longer just take the spirit of the property or video game and say, hey, look, so your favorite video game, we're turning it into a movie. So here we go. We hope everything goes well for you. We no longer can do that now because it seems like it now seems like with everything with The Last of Us, the fans are they're going to start demanding more of this type of show with properties now being done that way. And what is it that I always say? Winning cures everything, right? So far this show is winning everybody over. They're saying it's got the heart, it's on the line of The Last of Us. So yeah, I unfortunately am not a big fan of The Last of Us. I watched the first episode. It was all right. There's a lot of things I liked, I guess, and there are some things I didn't like, but that's okay. You know, um, it comes down to that, right? So we'll see where the future goes with these properties. Um, I'm very interested in that. Okay, so now we're going on to topic number two, and this is kind of weird because normally I have a crew here, and Mando season 3 is a little bit. That's our topic number 3, Andy. So Andy is asking about the Mandalorian, and we're going to talk about topic number 3. But first, I want to talk about topic number 2, and that is which I'm kind of excited to talk about this because I don't know. I enjoyed the last one. Right? Sorry, guys. I'm kind of running graphics by myself, so it's interesting. All right, topic number 2. Scream 6 trailer has dropped. It has finally dropped today, and I'm actually really excited about this property. Right? Scream. Mando is busy. Yeah, we'll get into Mando. Oh God, people asking questions. Anyway, so Scream 6, the trailer has dropped. And quite frankly, this time around, I think this movie might be better than the first Scream. And I know I'm going to get a lot of trash for that and a lot of hate for it, but all film is subjective, right? All film is subjective. So in this trailer of Scream 6, we're now set in New York and we have different things um, on the. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm already being spam. I have already people asking if I want free sex. Hell yeah. 69 or 69. Nice. Nice. So, Scream 6, the trailer is now showing us we're in New York, and it kind of opens the game up a little bit more than how it normally is, right? And that makes me very intrigued because, yeah, Scream 5 was pretty good and I enjoyed that. But this seems like we're now evolving, right? So each time we had somebody playing Ghostface, it was a fan or just a copycat over and over again, and that kind of actually that really did get boring, and it would take you out of the film a little bit. But this, it feels like we have a whole new ball game. We're now in New York, right? In the trailer, it shows that this ghost face actually has like a bat cave, I guess we're gonna call it, or a ghost face layer, which is actually pretty badass. We see Ghostface with a shotgun and he just pops one off in the excuse me, in the convenience store. and kills people point blank, and he's fearless, which is incredible. I'm glad to see Ghostface finally being that way. You know, you have Freddy, you have Jason, you have Michael, you have everybody up here, and then I feel like Ghostface is just right down here, and he's not really that menacing. He's always had that comedic feel to him. I mean, which is fine. That's what Ghostface is supposed to be. But now this time, I feel like we're starting to bring him up on the level with the other horror films and the other properties, and that makes me very excited to see. So, what do you guys think? Are you excited to see Scream 6? Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Also, one thing too I want to point out in the trailer is Neve Campbell isn't coming back for this movie. We all know that, which is fine. I mean, I really didn't miss seeing Sydney Prescott in the trailer. I don't miss her at all, and I know people are going to be like, "How could you? She's the face." Um, but yeah, I'm kind of over Sydney Prescott. I'm really over constantly seeing Ghostface attacking her. It's almost the same thing with who the fuck is Neve? It's the same thing with Mike Myers and Laurie Strode, right? How many times can Michael Myers go after Laurie? It just gets tiring. So the new cast looks wonderful. Everybody's coming back to play. Courtney Cox, man, her face is getting worse and worse with the plastic surgery. But that's that doesn't matter. I'm really liking this trailer. I'm really liking what I'm seeing with Scream 6. It's bringing me back. Reminds me. So we got a comment right here. Let's see what they say. Reminds me of the Saw done in the city. You know, I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one. Someone said, "You're no prize either." Thanks, Russell. I really appreciate that. Thanks, man. Yeah. So, wait, Drew Barrymore coming back? No, Drew Barrymore is not coming back. That is Peyton. I could never pronounce her last name, but she was the main protagonist in Scream 4, I believe. That was the movie that she was in. So we're definitely going to see where that comes from. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and head into this next topic, which I know everyone is waiting for because I got a lot of questions with this one. And that is I'm going to be talking about this guy right here. And it's very jarring, right? We have here, as you guys can see, Grogu is back, which doesn't make sense, and they're probably going to have to recap that. Last time we checked in the book of Boba Fett, right? Grogu decided he will not be he will not be a Jedi, or he's going to be a Jedi, or he decided he's not going to be a Jedi. I have to go back and rewatch, but it's kind of jarring because now it seems like it's becoming one of those things. Of course, with Disney, right? Oh, you know, we're gonna backtrack and we're gonna undermine that whole epic ending of Mandalorian season 2, which was, you know, the whole season leads and builds up to getting Grogu to a Jedi. He has to go to a Jedi. He has to be trained by a Jedi. And then at the ending of the Mandalorian season 2, spoilers if you haven't seen it, we have Luke Skywalker come in and he takes the child and they run off to wherever they are. And then we have the Book of Boba Fett, which is it's like, oh, we have to catch up with our favorite Mandalorian, and he has to make that decision that he's not going to be a Jedi. I don't know. It's kind of wonky for me. But I'm really excited to see where this goes. The trailer looks promising, but then again, so does Transformers trailers. They always look promising, but we all know those movies are terrible. But I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as you guys can see. I got Chewie over here, and then I have a Star Wars book over here, and a bunch of Star Wars property around me. So I enjoy it. But what about you guys? What do you think? Do you think The Mandalorian season 3 will live up to the hype that it's promising? Do you think they're going to go back on that decision of Grogu? Why do you think they brought Grogu back instead of leaving him go off with the Jedi? And do you think Disney needs a win after the Book of Boba Fett because the Book of Boba Fett was terrible? We had Dion. What did you say over here? And we got a comment. Maybe it's time to lapse between Mando and Boba Fett. You know, I agree. Maybe it's time to do that. I think that helped Boba Fett a lot better, right? The Book of Boba Fett. If you had the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian kind of woven into each other and they cross paths and one story goes into the other, you don't so much sidetrack Boba Fett and make him kind of a how can you say it, the heavy of his own show, but you know, you still need people to come back and a reason to watch. Now, the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett was terrible. I will first say that it was terrible, and I watched maybe about 3 or 4 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, and I just given up. It wasn't that intriguing to me. Like I said, how can you make your own character, the lead character of your show, a heavy? How can you make him be a side character in his own show and have other people take the forefront and kind of push the Book of Boba Fett or push Boba Fett to the side? So I don't know, guys. I'm excited for it, but do I think the hype is there? Disney has a lot to make up for Star Wars, because especially what they did with the Book of Boba Fett. So, are you calling him fat? No, I'm not calling him fat. Not at all. I have a couple of my friends in the show, and they're trolling me, and which is it's been a little minute since I've been on here, especially doing this by myself. So they're throwing me off a little bit. All right, guys, with that down, let's go ahead and head into our next topic. And this is kind of interesting. Now, I'm not much of a businessman, but I thought this was very interesting and a topic that I wanted to talk about. And it kind of sucks in a way because we're going to talk about Bob Paycheck over here, right? And it sucks. But have no fear, Bob Paycheck will be all right. He's not hurting for any money. So, ousted Disney chief executive Bob Paycheck is set to receive a hefty paycheck following his exit. The Walt Disney Company said that the former CEO, who took over in February 2020 after a long-time CEO, Uncle Bob Iger, we love Uncle Bob Iger, retired, as eligible to take home a severance pay package worth roughly $20 million. $20 million, according to regularly filing Tuesday. That's in addition to the $24 million he made last year. His $2.5 million base salary plus millions in stock options and awards. That's down from a $32.5 million he made in 2021, according to CNN. So, if any of you guys don't know really what is going on and what has happened, right? So, a couple weeks ago, we have Uncle Bob Iger back as the CEO of Disney. So it was during Elton John's goodbye concert, because Elton John has decided that he is retiring and stepping down, or no longer touring his music. I mean, it's Elton John, whatever. He'll be back eventually. But everybody, and Bob Paycheck was there, and he was supposed to introduce um, Elton John out on stage and get the show going, and things were supposed to be great. And the people around Bob Paycheck were getting emails. Jesus. So Disney executives and people at Disney were getting emails right there on the spot about, he's finally out. Bob Paycheck is out of Disney. And right before he went on stage to introduce Elton John for the concert, he was fired. He was, boom, at an Elton John show for Disney. Bob Paycheck was fired. Now, when Uncle Bob Iger retired, these chats. Sorry, guys. When Uncle Bob Iger when he stepped down and retired, Bob Paycheck took over, right? Bob Paycheck is a lifetime person at Disney. He started from the bottom, he worked his way up, and he was able to sit in the throne, Mickey Mouse's chair himself, sit down at the throne and able to run the company. Now, at first, Bob Paycheck had on paper, his plan to run the company was fantastic. Now, it doesn't know what works on paper, doesn't really work, as running a company. You may say, hey, this works great. I have this idea. Everything's going to be awesome. But then when you start putting plans into play, things don't work. Just like Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm, which I'm telling you, is that Kathleen Kennedy will step down after Indiana Jones 5 is released. I'm calling it. You'll see. Just watch. You heard it here first. You'll see it. And so Bob Paycheck was, a lifer at Disney, and he was fired. And Uncle Bob Iger had to come in and take over. And now Bob Iger is the new CEO of Disney once again. And he's going back and he's fixing all the mistakes and getting rid of specific people that Bob Paycheck put in place. Now, I don't think Bob Paycheck is a bad guy. I'm sure. I mean, he works for Disney. How many of them are actually bad people? I really don't know. I don't know the guy personally. Obviously, I'm just some schmo that's running a YouTube channel. But it's still pretty shitty with how Disney handled this individual and what they did to him and just fired him just like that. Also, he did step in at the lowest point of Disney, right? He stepped in during the pandemic. He stepped in and was trying to fix a company or at least guide a company in the best possible direction, or a direction that he felt was great for him. But unfortunately, that didn't work. So it sucks. But at the end of the day, Bob Paycheck, he'll be all right. He's not gonna face. He's not gonna be sad. He's gonna go home and he's gonna sit there and he's gonna wipe his tears with his Benjamins, and everything will be okay. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you deserve; it's about what you negotiate. So remember that. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead on to topic number 5, and topic number 5 is. It's an interesting topic, but we all knew this one was coming because we covered the story a couple months ago on the channel. Is this according to Deadline? So let's go ahead and throw that up there. According to Deadline, Alec Baldwin and Rust Armorer to face involuntary manslaughter charges over fatal shooting of the SAG-AFTRA Defenders actor. Alec Baldwin and Rust Armorer to face criminal charges over 2021 fatal movie shooting in Santa Fe, says the Deadline. Let me go ahead and pull up that article and read that main article for you guys. Excuse me. All right. So it says, in charges set to be formally filed by the end of the month, Baldwin, and I'm just going to call her Reed because I cannot pronounce her first name. So Baldwin and Reed will each be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the Hutchins death. right? Heading towards a hearing before a state judge and then a jury trial. The first charge is a fourth degree felony with sentencing up to 18 months in jail and a $5,000 fine. There's a second charge, which is formally an involuntary manslaughter, and the commission of a lawful act charge is also a fourth degree felony, punishable by up to 18 months in jail and up to a $5,000 fine. However, the second charge additionally carries a firearm enhancement that gives a offense a pushing mandatory 5 years behind bars if Baldwin and Reed are found guilty. All right, guys. So it also continues to say that that Baldwin has in the past vowed to fight any charges and that he'll plead non-guilty. This is a shitty situation, and this is a terrible situation, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not an actor's job while they're on set carrying a firearm as a prop, right? At the end of the day, it is not the actor's job to check the gun to make sure one, it doesn't have live rounds in it. That is, and it's not their responsibility. It's the armor person, right? The armor. Whoever is in control of the props, whoever hands the props out to actors and anyone on set, their job is to make sure one, they don't have a loaded gun. They're not handing an actor a loaded gun. And two, that it's never. So we have Andy saying that it's always the actor's job. No, it's not the actor's job. And now I disagree with that, because if you're on a set and you're about to film, one, I do think it is responsible. I don't think it's the actor's job, but I do think it's responsible to ask the armor that is this a loaded prop or not? Yes or no? Now, if the armorer says no, then I guess you could take their word for it, but out of good faith, you should have them recheck the gun to make sure, or at least you should try to check the gun to make sure. But regarding that, it is not the actor's job to make sure a gun is or isn't loaded. If we're on set filming movie, let's see, what do they say? If I hand you a gun to play Russian roulette with, are you going to check it? That's a different story. That's a completely different story, right? We're not filming a movie. We're not acting out. But it's not the actor's job to check the gun, long story short. But what I find very interesting is that, so Alec Baldwin is the lead actor of this film, but he's also the main producer of the film. So does he get charged with being an actor and firing the gun without his knowledge of the prop being loaded? Or does he get charged as the producer, the overseer, where it's actually his responsibility to make sure things are running smoothly on set as the producer? Comment that we have. I guess the production has to check it before handing it to the actors. Yes, absolutely. That is very true. That is very true. So I find this very interesting. I can't wait to follow this news story to see, is Alec Baldwin going to be charged guilty or non-guilty, and how will this hold up? And what's actually very interesting is, because of this situation. Now, there's been several times in Hollywood that this has happened, right? We had, I believe, is Brandon Lee. Maybe I can be fact tracked or checked. I believe it was, gosh, what was that movie where he was killed? Was it The Crow? I think it was, on set accidentally. He was killed by a loaded firearm. Actually, the firearm wasn't loaded. It was loaded with blanks, but the blank still ended up killing him. So, what did she say? She said, and only one person is responsible. Poor Alec. Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it does come down. Um, I don't know what they just said. If you are playing a suicide scene and are you going to check the gun or not? Wow, we got some aggression in here today. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where this goes and how this follows through. Um, so for those of you who are watching on YouTube, and also I have people watching on Facebook, thank you for popping in saying hello. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Alec Baldwin is guilty, even though the person who's in control of the armor, who's in charge of the prop, accidentally gave a live fire round on set? Comment below, let me know, and we'll continue on from there, guys. All right, let me just take a drink. All right, so let's go ahead and head on to our next topic. And that is topic number 5, and it's our final topic, which I'm really, really excited about this. So, this is according to Deadline. According to Deadline, Jackson biopic for Lionsgate, John Logan script, and with Bohemian Rhapsody, Graham King producing with the Michael Jackson estate. So it says exclusive. Antoine Fuqua is set to direct Michael, a Lionsgate drama telling this complex story of the iconic singer Michael Jackson. A script in by John Logan, and the film will be produced by Graham King, who turned the Freddie Mercury Queen story into a blockbuster, Oscar Best Picture nominated Bohemian Rhapsody. GK Films will produce along with co-executives of Jackson's estate, John Brencia and John McLean. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited this because Michael Jackson, man. Like, okay, forget everything you know, right? Forget everything you know. This is Michael Jackson. This is the king of pop. I don't know who is more well known and who has a bigger fan base, right? Or who is more famous with their music, either Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jackson. Now, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this biopic and how they handle this biopic. Will they do it the same way they do Steve Jobs' movie, where it takes place over the course of like one specific day in the pop star's legacy, or you know, with the Pepsi commercial where his hair caught on fire on stage while he was rehearsing, and he burnt. I guess he got burned pretty bad. Andy said Prince is more famous. I disagree. It says Weird Al or Weird Al. Nope, I disagree. I would recognize a Michael Jackson song before I would even recognize a Prince song. It's the way it is. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this movie and how they do it. Of course, if they do a biopic, I mean, if they can follow through with this biopic, and from reading the article, it says that they're going to go into production early May, I believe it was. It's going to be interesting, right? So are they going to do the Bohemian Rhapsody thing where all of the controversy and the negatives on the star's career, are they just going to they're going to showcase it, but they're also just going to gloss over it, right? The same thing they did in the Rocket Man movie with Elton John. They kind of just glossed over his history. Now, a biopic movie that has, and even Elvis, the recent Elvis movie, the recent biopic Elvis movie, same thing. Elvis was very controversial in his time, right? Especially with drugs and stuff like that. And they kind of just glossed over it. So it's going to be interesting to see. Um, but the next question that's going to be very interesting to see is, who do you have play Michael Jackson, right? Who's going to be able to play the King of Pop? I mean, because I have no idea. Now, I know Lifetime a couple years ago and came out with a Michael Jackson movie called Leaving Neverland or Forgetting Neverland or something like that. I forget. It's something Neverland. But they had an actor, they had a Michael Jackson impersonator obviously play Michael Jackson. Um and I mean it was interesting. It was all right. It was kind of weird because he was doing more of a like I said, impersonation than actually embodying the King of Pop. So I don't know. I'm really excited about this because I mean it's Michael Jackson. Like the same thing that I tell everybody, right? Take the artist out from the art. Take the art away from the artist. Forget about everything that he did. Forget about what's out there and what everyone believes or what he did or did not do. His music is still fantastic and it's catchy and it just makes you move, right? And it just brings a smile to your face. I don't know. I'm really excited about this. You know, at the end of the day, no pun intended, but I'll be there. I will be. I will be first in line in theater to watch the Michael Jackson biopic, and I will see where it goes, or we'll see where it goes. And I can't wait to follow this movie. Um, I can't wait to follow it and see all the casting announcements and who's playing who, and where this is going and how it will be developed. I'm very interested in that. So, with that being said, hey guys, thank you for tuning in to this quick little 40-minute show. Typically, I have a roster of people and we have more conversations that go more in depth, but unfortunately, today I wasn't able to. So, this is the first show of 2023. The show's come a long way. We started off pre-pandemic. It was Andy, Russell, Carter, me, some other guy that we no longer talk about. We had Reagan that was involved in the show. We had great people that was on the council, and we had Andy's tips and tricks. We had Campfires on Dagobah, a Star Wars story. Then we had ChiodoLive, which I'm wearing my shirt, ChiodoLive. And we also have VHS Movie Talk, which is this movie talk for you, the movie fans. So, big plans for 2023. I'm now having a schedule that is going to be set in stone. It's going to give me enough time to start producing more content and delivering more content for you guys. Hopefully, I can get things out earlier in the day instead of so later at night. And I can produce more shows and bring you more topics and more stories and have you guys be engaged with us. So, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to VHS Movie Talk. Like I said, it's movie talk for you, the movie fan. And I just want to say thank you. And I'm Dom Chiodo. Bye bye.